Hello, everybody. My name is Jason, and welcome back to Express Your Art. Thank you again for taking a look at what we do here. I think it's very important for people to get their stories out in their own words. We're here with Jalene today. She's going to share her expression, which is what I've gone calling these, and she is my sister. So be nice, everybody. And here we go. So, Jalene, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Jalene. I'm 30 years old, born and raised in Orange County, California, and just an avid music listener. Love to go to concerts and just experience music live.
Awesome. I think in Orange County, we get exposed to a lot, so a lot of music.
Kind of have to go to LA though.
At least it's a neighbor. Well, thank you very much for donating your time to us today. She has a couple tattoos, and I remember being there for the first one, which was really cool. It's still my picture for her on my phone whenever she calls. So always good times. I want to go ahead and give you the opportunity to shout out any company or charity or business that you may have on the side. Anything on your mind?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out our sister Jessica's jewelry shop at Jessica's Hope Center. I named it. Makes no sense to anyone else, but she's chronically ill and started making jewelry mostly for raves, but it's really for anyone who has a different style. They're really cute, and she does all kinds of stuff, even custom orders. So,
That's
shout
awesome.
out.
Really awesome. Thank you very much for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go ahead and jump into the first tattoo you have. So, why don't you go ahead and give us a backstory on the first tattoo, why you chose it, and leading up to it?
Yeah. So back when I got my first tattoo, I think I was like 21 ish, and it was still pretty stigmatized to get tattoos at the time, and so it actually took me a year before I went through with getting a tattoo. At first, I wanted to have a logo, and then something important, something like to tell people, here's something important. And then as I, went through that journey in that year, I started thinking, well, maybe it should be more about what I like or something that's important to me. And, I went through things, so many different like arts or artist pictures on like Pinterest and everything on the internet, and ultimately ended up landing on a Celtic heart. So it's a Celtic knot, which essentially symbolizes eternity because the knot never ends. And it's in the shape of a heart. And the reason I ended up going with that is because for me, I felt that love is very important. And the Celtic heart specifically symbolizes like eternal love, never ending love. And so it's usually associated with, you know, having deep love for stuff. So, and I feel like when I love deep. So that's why I decided it really encapsulated a certain part of me. And when I decided that, or when I saw it, really, that's when I decided that was the one that I wanted to do. And I also made it a certain color, which is my favorite. So I don't know, it was really cool.
That's an interesting story. Most people do take a lot of time on the first tattoo to really go through what they want. I know I did, but after that, it gets easier a little bit. Well, thank you for giving us that backstory. Go ahead and tell us what it was like getting into the shop and with your artist, and how it ultimately came out for you.
It was kind of underwhelming because I thought I'd be able to go and do it, but instead I had to go and make the appointment, see if the guy could do it, and then set another appointment just to get it done. So, I was just ready to go get it that day, and but I had to wait, and good things take time, so it was fine. But I was definitely anxious to get it done, and but when I did, I think the experience was interesting because I don't know why I thought it wasn't going to hurt the way it did. I knew it was going to hurt, but it just kind of burned in a different way. So I don't know. It kind of felt like I was having like love etched into my skin, like like seared in, and sometimes love hurts. So it kind of felt like a weird poetic type of scenario.
That's a really cool way to put it. Love does hurt, but you can't help it. You still want it. But that's really cool. How looking back on it now, how do you feel about the whole process, and how do you feel about your tattoo overall?
I'd say of the two that I have, I think I like. I would not do the tattoo. So like I would do it again. I think what I would do differently though is kind of make it more for me, right? Like I said, I ended up doing it because it meant something to me, but it's on my back and I can't really see it. It's out of sight, out of mind. And at the time, because there was that stigma, I wanted to make it easy to hide. And I think if I were to do it again, I'd probably put it in a place where it could be a little bit more visual and feel like a reminder to myself of myself.
That's an interesting take. I know, and this was how long ago?
Probably like 10 to 12 years ago.
Yeah, 10 to 12 years ago. You're kind of just getting started out and doing things. So yeah, a tattoo in a place that's easy to see can seem a little scary, I'm sure, at first, especially for your first one. But thanks for jumping in that pool because the more of us there are, the more things will change.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we're going to go ahead and now get into the second tattoo you have, which is also the last tattoo you've got.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you go ahead and tell us what that is and how you came to it?
Yeah, so the second tattoo was probably the complete opposite story. Um, I came into getting this tattoo, which is a snowflake, um, really on a whim. So I think it was a couple years later. I think maybe like 2 to 3 years later, and I was at work. It was Friday the 13th, and I was like, "Hey, if I want to get a tattoo today, I can go and do that. Like, I don't have to ask anyone. I don't have to tell anyone. I don't even have to make an appointment. I could just walk up and get, a little whatever tattoo for $50 or whatever $13 if it's going to be a Halloween themed one. And so I texted my friend, and she was willing to go with me to the tattoo shop. And so I just found one, and I got in line, and I actually went with the design though. I didn't want like a Friday the 13th theme. I felt like at the time I was like, okay, so what can I do? And I was like, well, I feel like snowflakes are unique because every single one has a different design and a pattern. And I was like, that sounds cool, and that feels like it's reflective of me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Um, but I kind of feel like the quality of this one didn't really turn out as good, and the assistant was doing it. I think the person was pretty new and stuff. So like ultimately what it symbolizes for me is not so much a really cool tattoo as it does like a statement of freedom. But again, I still let fear drive me a little bit in that space, because at that time, still like professionally having a tattoo on your arm or on your neck or your face or wherever, not going to get you jobs easily. So
Yeah. So when you get that tattoo, obviously there's still something to think about, but it kind of reminds me of what you said about your first tattoo. You were ready to just get it right then and there, and all of a sudden, here's an opportunity. I can get it now, and I want it now. The more of like an instant gratification for anybody, and I understand that.
yeah.
I've been lucky to get my tattoo same day I've walked into a shop so far, so it's been really nice. Um, for the tattoo, the second one um, you have said that it's just it's like a little different now. It's not as vibrant maybe as it was. Do you have any plans in the future for your first tattoo or this one to maybe get it touched up or covered, or are you just gonna let it hang for now?
I think I'll get the back one touched up because I like that one a lot. Um, the front one, I don't know if I would invest in it per se. Maybe even down the line get it removed. If that technology gets to a better place where it doesn't hurt so much. I don't know. I feel like for such a front facing space, I'd rather have something a little bit more important if I was going to have it there.
Understood. Thank you very much for giving us the background on that. Body art is always different for everyone, and how we perceive it is very important. But we're going to go ahead and get into some three questions that I like to ask everybody that I interview now. The first one is going to be, do you think tattoos are becoming more or less popular these days?
Oh. they're totally becoming way more popular and just way more accepted, generally speaking.
What do you think the reason is?
Um, you know, I don't think there's any one singular reason. I think it's a culmination of many things, but I think something big that contributes to it is just the internet and having visibility to all walks of life kind of at the tips of your finger. So, where it used to be that having one homogeneous type of people who look the same without any kind of differences, like that might have been easy to contain in an area. I think now it's just kind of bursting out. And so body art is part of that.
That's really interesting to think of it that way. I'm going to go on jump in the second question now. So tattoos used to, or still do, have this stigma attached to them. What do you think about the stigma, and do you think it's kind of going away, or if it's getting stronger?
You know, I think the stigma's changing. I don't think it's going away. It might be getting stronger, but it's just in a different way. Like, not necessarily tattoos, but something I've been grappling with recently is like wanting to get a nose piercing. And in the corporate world, you can't really just up and do that without it possibly impacting your trajectory upward. So like that affects bag want money, that you maybe you have to think about doing that or not doing it, depending what it means to you. And so like obviously I can consider something like a nose ring, but a tattoo would totally be just, if I want to get a face tattoo or a neck tattoo, still gonna be like a big question from boss or a boss's boss. So I think just the way that the stigma is there is a little bit different. It's kind of more implied rather than outward. So like before when you got your tattoo, Jason, your big dragon, maybe you can show that here right now on the side of the screen.
We'll see. We'll see.
People used to maybe look at you and give you an actual outward response, and I think the stigma these days are maybe just a little bit more uh, kind of toned down in terms of the response.
Yeah, because I mean, it's definitely still there. You still hear about it, you still see it, but definitely in different ways. Another unique take. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the third question I ask everybody. And what do you think the appeal of getting tattoos is for most people, as well
Hmm.
as yourself?
I'm not going to speak for myself here because I think actually I don't really want any more tattoos, but I think the appeal for people is a way to set themselves apart from other people. Um, before we used to be able to kind of follow a path or gain identities of our personality through regular conventional venues like buying a house, buying cars, having kids, etc. Still do all those, but a lot of them are a lot less attainable. And I think being able to put art on your body and kind of stand out in these different ways is just a different avenue that is kind of a little bit easier barrier to entry.
So, easier form of expression doesn't need too much investment.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very
And it lasts a long time.
businessy way to look at it, coming from you. But that's a good way. Everybody's got a lens. Those are the three questions I ask everybody. And thank you for your unique takes today. It's always different with everybody I talk to, and there's another reason why I do this. So, is there anything you want to say before we end the interview today?
No,
Awesome.
thanks for your time.
Thank you for your time, and I hope you have a great day, everybody. This was my sister, and I hope you guys have a great evening. Bye bye.